Vibrato is a technique involving variation in pitch, typically starting with an oscillating tone. Using vibrato is one of many artistic techniques that enhance and enrich sound. As vibrating notes allow seamless transitions between tones, it is imperative to develop vibrato at an intermediate level for those wishing to elevate their musical ability. The average violinist may take 6 months to a year to mature their vibrato, although the process of producing a fully developed vibrato is dependent on the musician. The following sets of instructions provide the cognitive steps to practice vibrato. This guide provides instruction on wrist vibrato, which utilizes the wrist for the technique. Here's an example of not playing with vibrato. And here's an example with vibrato. So to begin, gather the following items: your violin, a bow, rosin if you have it, and a shoulder rest. What might be useful is using a mirror or a metronome as well. So step one is preparing your instrument. First, you need to make sure that your instrument is tuned and your strings are in playable condition. Secondly, properly rosin your bow. And thirdly, adjust the shoulder rest to the most comfortable position on the instrument. Stand in front of a large mirror for all the following steps if you have one available. The first thing you want to do is get into position. So proper position, resting your chin comfortably. Stand up straight, rest your chin gently on the shoulder rest. Find an adequate space that's quiet to practice. Align your wrist in a slight curve away from the body. This is away. In a relaxed position, curve your fingers over the fingerboard and let the flats of your knuckles face upward. Step 3, you can pick any note to play. Pick a note to produce for the exercise. Playing F on the D string with your second finger is the easiest application. Step 4 will be performing the actual vibrato action. Note that the correct action utilizes both the wrist and these 3 joints of your finger with the action. Avoid placing your finger too directly on the very tip of your finger, such as this. Doing so will cause discomfort and damage. Now align your wrist in the ready position with the wrist just the slightest bit curved away. Take your wrist starting position and move it back. Just the slightest bit, keeping your finger anchored in place. You'll notice that the finger rocks sideways. So you're taking your finger from here in this starting position to shifting it sideways that way. Your inner wrist moves forward. When you play this note, you'll notice that the pitch gets a little bit flatter. You'll notice the finger rocking sideways, producing a flatter tone than the initial pitch, and this will be the second position that your wrist assumes. Slowly alternate between flexing the finger in place from the tip to the fuller fleshy side of your finger. Now, step 5 is the actual exercise. Once you understand the rocking motion, practice rhythmically alternating between the positions. You may find it helpful to use a metronome to keep the tempo. Consistency and proper positioning is the most important. Practice at around 60 beats per minute, 4/4 time signature. This would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, In practice, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, increase the tempo gradually until you're comfortable practicing above 100 beats per minute, something around the sound of this. If you're finding difficulty with the exercise, you should practice at a lower beat per minute, around 30 BPM. I would definitely keep the tempo. If you can play the note even and with smooth oscillations, you can attempt to implement it in your practice with your current repertoire.